the disclaimer, we're not here to cause harassment, alarm or any distress or intimidation towards anybody. We are here purely to defend the animals and film from a public land, our right to assembly, to come and protest, film the animals from public. We won't be entering the building at all, but we will be filming everything today. We're shining a light on an industry that they don't want you to see. Please subscribe at the top of this live stream. When you come into this live, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe at the top, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan. Yeah, hello. Subscribe at the top, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream, like, comment and share. I'm at a slaughterhouse today. They're killing cows from the dairy industry in this evil place. They're killing cows from the beef industry in this evil place. But around the world, animals are screaming inside slaughterhouses. The animal experimentations. Horses in the horse racing industry are being broken into. They're being taught something called learned helplessness, where they get so abused, so broken down that they cannot fight back anymore. Please subscribe at the top of this live stream. Put 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, and 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like, share and comment. I'm at a slaughterhouse. A slaughterhouse right now. They are killing animals behind me today. They're killing animals behind me every time I'm here. It's disgusting. It's evil. If you are not vegan, you pay their wage. I'm not here to hate on you. I used to do the same thing. For 26 years, I had no idea what happened to these animals. Subscribe at the top of this live stream. Put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe to put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but you're not vegan yet. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like, comment and share. We're here not to rage bait, not to hate on you on the live stream. In fact, thank you to everyone on this live stream. Thank you to all the activists in the live stream. Thank you to all these people here being open-minded enough to listen, to realise that there's an evil darkness running through our world, and it's happening parallel to the world that you think is nice. Okay, like I used to live my life. For me, I used to live my life trying to have the best fun as I possibly could, but I didn't realise there was another world running beside me, a parallel world, but evil. Please double tap the live stream, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan, subscribe at the top, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, subscribe at the top, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan, double tap this live stream. I'm at a slaughterhouse right now. Animals will be coming here any second. I can see animals in the lairage behind me that we're going to show you today. I'm going to show you these animals here. Stay on this live stream. This live stream is a life and death live stream. You'll understand that when you listen to the words that we speak today. Piglets at 6 months old, they're forced inside CO2 gas chambers, 90% of them. Yet only 12% of the population even know that. 99% of you won't know anything about what we're saying today. This will be the first time you hear this information. Double tap this live. Get as many likes in this live as possible. The likes get the algorithm out so the animals are seen. Please subscribe at the top of this live stream to put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe at the top of the live stream to put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe at the top, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live, like, share, comment. I can hear shouting behind me. I think they're manoeuvring the animals from the lairage into the kill floor, which means there'll be another truck coming any moment now. Keep asking questions. How many likes are we on this live stream right now?
16 likes, 200 in the room.
Keep double tap. All 200 of you, just double tap the live stream. That's the least you can do today. Just double tap that live stream, like and share. I'm not here to hate on you. I'm here to defend someone against the war that has been forced upon them. They're in a war against us. But the thing is that the oppressor may not even know that they're the oppressor. I used to pay for this. I used to be the oppressor. So does Steve. For 26 years of my life, I paid for slaughterhouses. I paid for experimentations on animals. I didn't know what I was paying for because I was indoctrinated. Please put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like, share and comment. I'm at a slaughterhouse right now. A slaughterhouse. Behind me, they are killing grieving mothers from the dairy industry. Every single cow in the dairy industry has pregnancy forced upon her. Every single cow in the dairy industry carries her baby for 9 months. Every single cow in the dairy industry, when she gives birth, alone in the darkness on a concrete floor in feces around her, has her baby taken away from her, kidnapped. That's what animal farmers do. Small, big, local, free range, it's all the same. If the baby is a boy, let me explain what they do in just a second. Please put 1 in the chat if you're vegan, 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe at the top of this live stream, put 3 in the chat if you are anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, keep liking this live. How many likes have we got now?
28 now, need 50 as soon as the first truck comes.
50 as soon as possible. Keep liking this live stream and ask questions.
Why are you doing this today?
I'm doing this because animals need me defending them. They're crying for mercy, they're begging for help, but no one's listening to them, so I'm using my voice to help them. I'm here at a slaughterhouse today to defend those animals because right now, good people in this live stream are currently paying for animals to go into these places to be used for their skin, their wool, their eggs, their milk, and having their babies ripped away from them. Please subscribe at the top of this live stream, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet, and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live, please comment. We're gonna be answering questions today. Look at this, we've got security here on the gate. Security here on the gate, 2 of them on the gate. They've taken this gate that is normally on an automated system, on a manual system, because when it's on automatic, it goes across really slowly like this, so we have more time with the animals, more time so we can show people the reality. When they take it off that system, two people have to run the gate because they can run it faster than the automated system can. Why is that? Why are they trying to hide this industry from you? Is it because when you see just the animals' eyes looking out the truck, people change? Absolutely. Subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream, like, comment and share.
Highborn Dust says, good purpose, and they don't take the babies there, fools.
They take every single baby. In the dairy industry, all the babies are taken away. Thank you for bringing me back to that point. The male calves in the dairy industry, they are classed as a waste product. They do not produce milk. They're classing sentient baby boys as waste. Imagine if they class you as a waste product because you're a male, because you don't produce milk, because they can't exploit you. They send you to a slaughterhouse to be stabbed in the throat. That's what they do. Standard practice everywhere, every dairy farm, every farm around the world, that's what happens. If you're born a female in the dairy industry, they think, oh great, I can use you for your breast milk. What they do is they still kidnap her from her mother, and her mother cries for her because they're very maternal animals. She's then put into an isolation booth alone. Please subscribe at the top, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan.
People are saying, I need meat, I need protein.
Yeah, of course we do. Everybody needs protein, but protein only comes from plants. Plants is the only form that makes protein. Animals then eat the plants that you then kill the animals and eat the protein secondhand through their bodies along with their saturated fats and horrific things through the body, as well as exploiting somebody when you could have just eaten the plant. Isn't that extreme? Isn't slaughterhouses extreme? Isn't animal experimentation places extreme? They test on beagle puppies in the UK. Did you know that? Go and look at Camp Beagle, who have been outside MBR for the last 5 years in the UK, in Huntington. Go and have a look. Go and have a look at what happens. These are vegans trying to defend animals because the only people who actually love animals are vegans because they don't oppress them.
Mr. Coconut said that free range is good.
Free range is no different. This is the sad reality, right? Please subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe at the top and put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe at the top, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream. How many likes we got?
65.
Let's get to 100 as soon as possible. You have been indoctrinated. If you believe the words free range, organic and humane, you have been mugged off by the industry that wants you to be mugged off, and you fall for it. But I'm not saying that to say you're silly. I fell for it as well. I used to pay for these industries. I used to pay for these horrific places that I'm so against, and I dedicate my life now defending those animals because I saw inside a slaughterhouse horrific. I see the animal farmers from small local free range, which means nothing by the words, but I see them laugh, mock, and hit the animals when they're here. They're worse than anybody else. They're disgusting scumbags. They all need to be in prison for what they do to those dear animals. Subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe at the top, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream, like, share, and comment. Please like this live stream because when you like this live stream, more animals are seen by the world who needs to see them. The likes are really important, really, really important. We're going to show you, should we show everyone in a minute, the lair ridge?
Yeah, do you want to swap over?
Yeah.
Do you want to do that bit?
Yep. Stay on this live stream. This is a life and death live stream.
Right, yeah, show up over the top.
Let me just take this down here.
Yeah. Okay, guys, you're going to see live inside of a slaughterhouse here in the UK. This is going to be the lair ridge. You may even see some animals in there who are waiting to be taken through to the kill floor to be killed. This is like a big holding area, a big waiting area. This is where the farmers drop the animals off. When farmers come to slaughterhouses, this is all they ever see. It looks like a big barn. It's the same barns as what the animals are in or similar to at the farms. And this is to convince the animals that they're safe, that they can go into the barn and it's all okay. They're just being moved into a different area. But this is far from safe for them. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat. If you're not vegan but you're open-minded to these conversations, subscribe and put 3 in the chat. If being kind to animals triggers you, double tap the live stream, like, share, subscribe, and please share on all socials. We need 100 likes as fast as possible to get the animals seen. So please make sure you've double tapped. From that layer that you've just seen, they'll be taken through onto the kill floor. They'll be marched forward until they're nose to tail in a single line. They'll then get walked into what's called a knock box. This is a big metal box where they can't turn around, move forward or move back. A big metal sheet comes down behind them and traps them inside. Then someone bolt guns them in the face, long enough for them to get a shackle around their back leg, to lift them up in the air and stab them in the throat. That's exactly what's going to happen to them. 1 in the chat if you're vegan, subscribe. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, be open-minded to why we're here. Subscribe and hit 3 if being kind to animals triggers you. Double tap the live stream and please share on your socials. Our disclaimers here today is that we're not here to cause alarm, harassment, distress, or any form of intimidation. We're here today to exercise our right to public assembly and freedom of speech. We're also here not to clash with non-vegans. We're not judging anybody. We're not pointing fingers. We're not calling names. We're purely here to say, did you know this fact? Did you know this evidence? Because these industries work so hard to keep the public from actually knowing the truth. Because when good people know the truth, they remove their support from the industry by going vegan. Whenever you tell a good person, did you know that cows don't just eat grass and produce milk? Cows are mums and they have babies taken away from them, so her breast milk can be stolen for cheese, chocolate, yogurts, and other products. People don't like being responsible for children being kidnapped from their parents, so they stop and they go vegan. You got a comment?
Yeah, unknown Midnight Wolf put, I'm a number 2, I think, but meat is delicious and gives you nutrients that plants cannot give you. What would you say to that?
Okay, listen, no one goes vegan because they stop liking the taste, but they go vegan because they realize the ethics behind. When you're looking at nutrients, you can get all nutrients from plants. Now, when you can select nutrients that didn't scream for their life inside slaughterhouses, then that is the most optimal selection. It's the most moral and ethical selection to make. So this is all being vegan is. And if you want to get a certain nutrient, you just put it into Google, how do I get this nutrient vegan? All amino acids, by the way, come from photosynthesis from nitrates in the soil. So all protein and amino acids come from plants. Subscribe and hit 1 in the chat if you're already vegan. Subscribe and hit 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're a kind person and you're wondering why vegans are outside slaughterhouses live streaming to show you the truth the industry want to hide. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if being kind to animals upsets you. Please double tap the live stream. Please make sure you share. Please go into the description and click on Dominion. Watch that documentary. Also watch Pignorant. And at the bottom of that link, on the link tree, there is help to go vegan. Please go there and click on that too and speak out, John the Bodybuilder Vegan. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan already. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat. If you're not vegan but you're open-minded to why we're here, subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Now let me tell you what's going to be happening today. We are live here at ABP Slaughterhouse where they execute cows from the dairy industry and the meat industry. Today you're going to see animals as they come. This is why I keep looking this way. Animals will be arriving from this direction. They'll come right past here and they'll go through the gates that's behind me. The gate that's behind me is usually on an automatic system where they press a button and it slowly opens and closes. Today they've taken it off that system and there are 2 people in high vis who will be pushing and pulling the gate open and closed. Now the reason and the sole reason for this is because the industry don't want the members of the public seeing the animals before they come past here to die. Bear in mind, we're not showing you anything that's graphic or gory. We're simply showing you eyes, nose, and ears looking out on the world for the last time as they get taken into a slaughterhouse to be executed. That is enough that the industry don't want you to see, because when anyone with a good heart sees animals in that position, they go vegan and then they lose money. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan already. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded to these conversations. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if being kind to chickens and cows upsets you and triggers you. Please double tap the live stream, please hit the share, please go into the description link and watch Dominion and watch Joey Armstrong's Pignorant. Remember, we're not here to clash with you, we're here to tell you the truth. Did you know that dairy cows go to slaughterhouses pregnant? Over 20% of dairy cows go in there with babies inside their stomachs, who will be born or cut out of their stomach and left on the kill floor to suffocate and die in the embryo sac. That's what you support. When you buy cheese, chocolate, milk, yogurts, this is the industry you support. Do you have a question?
Yeah, so evil, right. FIFA clips, but I don't really understand what he means, but he said, what happens to the cows before they get killed? Maybe...
Okay, let me explain. Thank you very much for your question and thank you for being here. Subscribe and 1 if you're vegan already. Subscribe and 2 if you're not vegan but you're a kind person. Subscribe and 3 if being kind to animals triggers you, and double tap the stream for context. We keep getting wafts from the kill floor here. They're killing animals and I can actually hear a bellow as well in the distance there. They're obviously screaming for mercy before they're being killed.
Aww.
What's going to happen to the animals? Let me explain. Maybe I didn't do a very good job. They're in a big holding area, big layerage, big communities like this. They get called forwards and then they get filed down until they're single file. So nose to tail, nose to tail, nose to tail. Then they come to the knot box on the kill floor. It's like a big box like this. They slide up like the back, and the cows are pushed forwards, and then they slide it down behind them. So they can't move backwards, forwards, or they can't turn. They're completely trapped. Lots of cows at this point trying to evade by kicking and screaming and moving their head. And a lot of slaughterhouse workers get very frustrated and angry at this. I've seen it before myself. Subscribe and 1 if you're vegan, subscribe and 2 if you're not vegan but you're a kind person listening. Subscribe and 3 if being kind to animals triggers you, and double tap the stream and share on socials. Now once they're in that that knot box, they come over to the top and they put a bolt gun on their head. They put a captive bolt gun, it shoots them in the head, it drops them to the floor. Now the industry and a lot of welfare people will tell you this is to make sure that the animal feels no pain. This would still be wrong, by the way. If they tickled them to death, it would still be wrong. But the reason why they use a captive bolt gun is because when you come up to an animal like a cow with a knife to kill them, they have a fight and flight response like humans do. And when cows are thrashing and moving their head and you've got a very sharp knife trying to kill them, there's high risk of injury to the slaughter person. So the bolt gun is to drop the cow long enough so they can put a shackle around their back legs, hoist them up into the air so they're hanging from one leg upside down, unable to thrash around and move. They get stabbed in the throat and they have their throats slashed open. So every single cow that you see come past here today is going to go through that process. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're not vegan but you're open-minded to that conversation. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if you're a troll, if being kind to animals triggers you. Double tap the stream. How many likes have we got now?
121. Let's get
150 as soon as possible, guys.
Gabby says, why this much protest for other species and not our own?
Because this is the biggest injustice that the world has ever seen. What the animals face is far more important than any injustice in the world, in my opinion, and same as Mel's.
Yeah.
Animals have been oppressed and exploited since the beginning of time. They've been exploited and oppressed whilst all other injustices have been going on, whilst the injustice is there, before the injustice and after the injustice. Not only that, they are mocked during it. Imagine that. This is the most important issue of our time. We need to stop this. Animals need the rights to their own life and their bodily autonomy. And I will use my voice, my energy in every hour of my life to try and defend them, because it is the biggest injustice the world has ever seen.
And it's also the biggest injustice that you can stop partaking in. You're not partaking in child trafficking like everyone's saying in this live chat.
You can still be against every other human injustice at the same time as you stop paying for animals to be exploited and murdered. How about this? You can't practice or preach peace the whole time you're paying for violence towards innocent animals. How dare anybody come on this live stream and say, you shouldn't be doing that, you should be focused on this war, or you shouldn't be doing that, you should be focused on that war. You can't preach peace the whole time you're paying for innocent animals to die,
exactly.
For mothers to have babies being taken away from them, families to be split up, animals to be kidnapped, caged, commodified, tagged, shackled, chained, exploited,
the irony of people talking about babies as well. Gabby says, more than humans, question mark. You care more about baby cows and not human babies. We don't pay for babies, humans.
Gabby, what is the moral difference between you and the cows that are going in this slaughterhouse? What's the moral difference? Don't say I'm a human, they're a cow. What is the moral difference? What do you possess that they don't? That means that if we did this to you, that it would be absolutely horrific and terrible, but it's okay to do it to them. Bear in mind, you're all sentient, you're all having a subjective experience of your own life, and you all have the ability to feel pain, suffer, and have emotions. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're not vegan, but you're open-minded to these conversations. Subscribe and put 3 in the chat if being kind to animals triggers you. Like Gabby sounds triggered because we're saying let's be kind to cows, chickens, pigs, sheep, lamb, and fish at the same time as worrying about other injustices. Double tap the live stream. Please make sure you hit share on all socials.
If you're not vegan, what's the issue with that?
If you're not vegan, then you're personally responsible for the oppression, exploitation, and violence towards innocent animals. If you're not vegan, you are literally directly part of the supply and demand chain. Let me explain it. Subscribe and 1 for vegans, subscribe and 2 for non-vegans who are kind people, subscribe and 3 for anti-vegan trolls, and double tap the stream and share on socials. If you are not vegan, you create a demand every time that you pay with your money. Now, not just at supermarkets for meat, dairy, eggs, fish, but when you go to the shop and you buy a leather jacket, when you go to the zoo and you pay for admission to the zoo or admission to the aquarium, or when you go and buy products that are tested on animals, every time that you pay with your money is a vote. And every time you vote to continue to exploit animals, you're part of a demand that keeps them there. All being vegan is someone who's decided to remove their personal responsibility from the use and exploitation of animals. Therefore, our money will go to the option that doesn't hurt animals, and we create demand in a different direction. And this is what Mel was just talking about, is the biggest injustice that you can directly affect today. Because the minute you take your money away from these industries, they struggle, they literally suffocate and die. This isn't a staple of civilization. This isn't the bedrock of our civilization. This is a business. This just makes money. It's the same as any other business. Don't give it money. They've marketed to the consumer very well. They've made you believe your baby cows is healthy and it's ethical. It's an absolute load of nonsense. They've marketed it to you to keep you indoctrinated, to make you not critically think, keep you paying for the most horrific injustice without ever considering it. Subscribe and put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat. If you're not vegan but you're a kind person, subscribe and put 3 in the chat. If being kind to animals triggers you, double tap the live stream, like, share and subscribe. We get lots of people beeping their horns and swearing at us here. Why? Because we're being kind to animals. How crazy is that? Let me swap over with Mel.
Yeah, you know, it really annoys me when people are like, you care more about this than anything else, because I'm like, right now, you are personally paying for animals to be stabbed in the throat. You are, personally, okay? You're not personally going and child trafficking people. You're not personally going and, like, doing other injustices. This is the injustice that you're paying for. This only happens because you're not vegan. Veganism is a non-action. Veganism is a normal person who doesn't pay for the oppression of others. If I was over there stabbing a dog in the throat and someone was like, hey guys, I think you shouldn't do that, and I was like, yeah, but why do you care more about this dog than child slavery? You'd be like, well, stop doing that and then fight for that at the same time. Use your flipping brain. Please put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream.
Confused, but read my damn comment, and then their comment is I'm a number 3, so they're already anti-vegan. Animals eat other animals. Humans are animals. Animals eat humans, and humans eat animals. It's the cycle of life and the food chain. Just forget about protesting. This is my argument.
What a tantrum to be like, read my damn comment, and then you write the most stupid thing in the comment. Animals in survival are in survival, okay? You can't use survival situation in Tesco's or Sainsbury's or your supermarket or when you go and buy shoes or when you go and buy anything. That's not a survival situation. What about humans in survival? 8 other humans. Oh, you know what? I'm now going to kill all the humans because in survival, humans ate other humans. No, again, use your brain. Why these people have such stupidity in their brain who are so triggered when we're just saying, stop hurting animals. Stop hurting animals. If you're not vegan, you pay for the worst oppression upon somebody else, and that is the animals. They are children. They are children. They're childlike beings. They're gentle, and they need you defending them. Please put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream, like, share, and comment.
Aerostorm put animals are animals, not human. They are not competent, you dumbass.
Wow.
It's kill or be killed. Also, it's not the same if you kill an animal, it's fine because they're not human. They are simply a food source.
Wow, what a disgusting, evil mindset you have. What a letdown to our society you are. You are an animal, by the way. Okay, so when you're talking about animals in such a disgusting, evil way, you're talking about yourself. Animals and humans are no different. We're exactly the same. We are animals. Humans are just a form of species of animal, okay? The fact that you are calling people dumbasses or animals are dumb, you can't even use your own brain to realize they have a brain and central nervous system. They feel pain just like you and I. There is no difference. The way that you view them is because you're racist against the animals. You're speciesist. You're viewing them different purely because they look different to you. What about the inside? They have a brain, they have a heart, they have a central nervous system, they have eyes, they have ears. They want to live just like you and I. Don't use your freedom to take someone else's freedom away because you're so selfish and greedy. Most people are not like this minority, disgusting, evil person. Most people are kind, but it's the class clowns, the class bullies that are the loudest, right? It's always the bullies that shout the loudest because they have the biggest egos and they have the biggest, like, man-baby egos. And they're like, oh, look at me, answer my damn comment. There's actually nice people in this live stream who don't know these industries exist, and we're here to talk to them. We're here to defend animals. Subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap the live stream, like, share and comment. How many likes have we got in this live?
136 likes.
Let's get to 150 likes as soon as possible. Animals will be turning up here today. We're here to not hate on you. We're here to defend animals. But if you're hating on the animals, then yes, we will make a mockery of you because that's disgusting. That's the disgusting mindset that you have. You're no different to the people working inside stabbing those animals to death. You're probably sat next to a dog and a cat who you adore, right? You're probably sat next to your companion animals who you love. Those animals going to slaughter are no different. They are also just as gentle, just as kind. They look out at the world for hope, and all they get is a knife in their throat. They have their babies taken away from them. They have mutilation happen to them. They have body parts cut off of them for what? Because you want a sandwich made of their flesh? Who the fuck do you think you are? Please put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like, share and comment. I'm at a slaughterhouse right now. Behind me, there's literal murder to animals happening in these facilities. Pigs at 6 months old get forced into CO2 gas chambers. The chickens that you consume, that you eat, they're called broiler hens. They are disabled babies. At 42 days old, they get sentenced to gas chambers where they suffocate to death inside those places. Then they experience a knife in the throat. This is what you pay for if you're not vegan. Veganism is just normal people. It's just normal people. You're the carnists are paying for the animal abuse, mutilation and murder of animals if you're not vegan. And you could change today.
Well, a lot of people trigger that just the truth. They don't like using the right words like racism against animals.
It is racist. It is racist. This is the worst injustice, the biggest war. This is the worst moral crime that has ever happened to another being on this planet. It's to the animals. The animals have it the worst. While the human is being mutilated alive, being put in blenders alive, while the humans are having pregnancy forced upon them every single day and having their babies taken away from them whilst they have their breast milk stolen from them. Male calves in the dairy industry don't produce milk. They're considered a waste product and they're stabbed in the throat because you want to drink their breast milk because they brainwash you to think you're a baby cow. Cow's milk is only for baby cows. This is a slaughterhouse. Animals are being killed behind me right now. They're being stabbed in the throat, and if you're not vegan, you pay for it. You're paying for this mutilation. You're paying for this stabbing, this killing of animals who want to live just like you and I. Please subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like, share and comment. How many likes we got in here now?
140 likes.
Let's get to 150. Keep double tapping this live stream. Keep liking this live stream. You today, subscribe so you can win your morals back. Subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. Double tap this live stream, like this live.
John will experience it. I don't like how we treat animals before we die. I don't buy meat, but I do hunt deer, catch fish, and have my own chickens for eggs.
How can you pick up a weapon and catch animals and kill them? When you're saying you don't like how animals are treated before they die, well, it's the whole thing. It's the rights violation. I'm not here for welfare. There's no right way to have a slave. There's no right way to murder somebody, even if you put words like humane in front of the word. There's no necessity for you to hunt. It's a lack of justification. You could just go somewhere else and get something else. You don't have to kill animals who want to live. What about if the animals then suddenly had the power and they could fight against you and they killed you and your family? You would be begging for mercy. Don't do that to them. Don't do that to them. You can actually be a kind person. Change your ways. In fact, there's many hunters that have changed because they were like, you know what? I shot this animal and I felt awful. They went vegan because they hunted and they saw that poor animal. And in fact, there was a hunter who killed a deer, and then she didn't realize she had a baby. It turned her vegan. Then she looked after that baby deer, and she's so upset with what she did to those poor animals that she killed. Change your ways now. Don't leave your legacy behind of killing animals and oppressing animals when you could have chosen kindness. Please, we are not here to hate on you guys. We're here to defend animals. I speak with fury, rage and passion because the animals are being killed behind me. My heart is broken for them. And I used to pay for that, so I'm not here to judge you. I'm not here to say you're a bad person. I'm here to say you probably just don't know what I know. You probably haven't seen what I've seen. I've seen the industry. I dedicate myself to fight for the animals. I make sure I know what's happening. I make sure I go into these places and I investigate these places with Steve on our main channel. Check out It's Mel and Steve. Subscribe, put 1 in the chat if you're vegan. Subscribe, put 2 in the chat if you're open-minded but not vegan yet. Subscribe, put 3 in the chat if you're anti-vegan. How many likes we got now?
141.
Keep liking this live stream, double tap this live, like, comment and share. Can I switch in with you quick?